Second.
Who's for? Is that Ricardo?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No. I was saying I was going to Oh, okay. I mean, it's Guzman.
Oh, Guzman.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, am I missing a bag over there? Because you know why? I have an extra one. Is there somebody else there? Me?
No, he's not gonna be here tonight.
Okay, that's you.
Thank you.
I wonder why I had an extra one, because I know I count. Why do I have an extra one?
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. This is our Public Safety and Human Relations Commission for February 13th, 2023. We're going to call our meeting to order. And can we have, Commissioner Cervantes, would you be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Put your right hand over. You ready? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, and we will have our invocation. Do we have any volunteers for the invocation? Would you like to go ahead and do the honors? All right, we'll have our invocation by Commissioner Tombach.
Heavenly Father, we come before you in Jesus' name. And Lord God, I pray that you give us the wisdom and the knowledge and the ability, Lord, to just meet the needs of the city and the needs that come before this board. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, we will have our roll call now.
Commissioner Guzman. Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
Commissioner Walters. Commissioner Tomba.
Present?
Commissioner Robertson.
Present.
Chairperson Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Cervantes.
Here.
And Vice Chairperson Carrillo.
Present.
And Commissioner Elliott advised of his absence. But we have a quorum.
All right. Do we have any public comments for anything? Items?
We do.
Okay.
We have three. First one is Maya Estiva. Would you like to come in? 3 minutes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
My name is Maya Esquiva. I stay at 1118 East 33rd Street. I'm here today because my dad was killed on 40th and Harrison on February 9th when he was hit by a truck. I don't want this to happen to anybody else. My family's going through a lot today because my parents were married for 53 years and my mom is left without her husband. 40th is a dangerous street with no lights or pavement and is used as a raceway. I'm asking the city to look at this street and make changes along the stretch starting from Valencia to Conejo. There's no lights. There's barely any stop signs. We need something to make it safer. People walk there all the time. Kids walk to school. I've sat there since my dad's passing it's been 3 days now. And I have seen other pedestrians. I do have video of it on my phone. And I'll be sitting there taking video every single day until something is done. There are so many people that walk there late at night who can easily get hit because cars are racing through there. I have many videos on my phone showing how fast people are going. There was an older gentleman that was walking a dog, which a car almost hit him. There's another lady that I have a video of, and the car wouldn't even let her get all the way through to the street and almost hit her. I just would really like something to be done so nobody has to go through what we have to go through. Today I had to make arrangements before I came here for my dad's services. And I just don't want anybody to go through this ever again. We need to do something about that street. There's no lighting or anything. Thank you.
And tell me your name again.
Maya Estiva.
Mrs. Eva, our condolences on your loss. So sorry to hear that. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next is Lawanda Rangel.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lawanda Rangel. I live at 3020 Pepper Tree Lane, San Bernardino, California. I have a couple of ladies here that lives on Pepper Tree Lane as well. And we stand in solidarity for the safety of our community. Street lights are a proven way to reduce robberies, burglaries, property defamation, property damage, and other crimes that often happen in the dark. By ensuring the property has adequate lighting around it, we can reduce the risks and fostering the development of criminal activities. On June the 22nd, 2022, a 22-year-old woman was shot to death in San Bernardino on Wednesday morning on Pepper Tree Lane and Marshall Boulevard. The body lay between the debris from the trees and the ground. This is a problem we're having over there because once the trees start growing limbs and the debris start growing from the ground, you can't even see if there's a body out there. And that morning, people was walking, but a lot of people did not see the body. We are standing here in solidarity asking for better street lights and the debris of the trees to be trimmed and maintained by the golf course on Pepper Tree and Marshall. We're asking you guys to trim them at least twice a year, and if you can't do that, at least once a year. And we have another problem that's going on right now too. On Pepper Tree Lane and North Side, the pavement is raised so far high up, and a big old tree in front of the yard, and people are actually going to walk and they're falling down, hurting themselves. And I really need someone out there to look at that because you have elderly people going for a walk and they're falling and getting hurt. That's all I have to say, and I really thank you for listening and your time.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you give me the address on Pepper Tree Lane where you're requesting the street lights?
Throughout Pepper Tree Lane,
Just between like what cross streets?
between Marshall Boulevard and Pepper Tree. And that's from Pepper Tree, from 30th Street. Because you got 30th Street, then you have Pepper Tree, and you turn to the left, and you go on up Pepper Tree, and then you loop around, that's Marshall Boulevard.
Mm-hmm. And then you said the trimming of the brush is where? The location where you're asking for the trimming?
The trimming is on Pepper Tree Lane.
Also on Pepper Tree?
Yes. Because you have the pepper trees where the city has planted them by the golf course. And when they grow out, you can't really see because everything is so up. And when that young lady got killed, her body was just laying there. And the guy that works on the golf course actually found the body. Mm-hmm. And you had people walking in the morning, didn't see the body.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's on the curb. That's the
Yeah.
brush that's along the curb.
yeah, it's a brush along the street going up.
Okay.
And you have the golf course, you have a chain link fence that you can't even see because sometimes of the debris that grows up. But it goes all the way around to Marshall.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And one other thing, I'm sorry, you mentioned that the pavement was raised.
Is that because of the trees as well? I know sometimes
It's
the
because
roots
of the tree.
can-
Now, these trees, to me, they look to be 200 years old because some of them are so big. So the pavement raised up to maybe about this high, and the curve that goes around it, it's all falling apart. I have pictures of it as well, if you guys wish to see it.
Do you need pictures?
That would help if you could send
Oh,
them.
sure. Let me give you the picture. See right here where it's all flat? And that big old tree stump?
Mhm. Yeah, it's just the roots, because it's so
And you
large.
see how even breaking the street?
And you said it's on the north side, like, do you have an address where that's nearby?
It's on Pepper Tree Lane, and the street is north. The street right here is north.
It's called North?
Yes.
Okay, I'll
And
try
it's
to see
just
if I
right
can
there.
find it on Google Maps or.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You just push everything out of the way there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And our last speaker is John Schollenberger.
Good evening, Public Safety Commission. It's an honor to be before you today. You've been so helpful to us in Arrowview. I'm here to follow up on the agenda item from September 12th, the initiative we have going of the traffic calming measures on 28th from H to Waterman Avenue. Before I was following up with Alex Kishta, but I understand he's no longer with us in the city. So I'm here just to make sure that we stay before you and we continue to speak to this. Some of the work has begun. We saw the signages and everything start to go up. But we want to make sure we have a point person that we can follow up with on the progress. The community is saying we can't let this thing fall to the wayside. Too much work has been put into it already. So I need to find out who we can reach out to as a point person. If that would go through Dan Hernandez, I don't know, because he's Public Works. Other than that, this young lady, we are experiencing, we live on between H and Waterman, and ours is a very narrow street. They're going 40 to 60 miles an hour from the stop light to the four-way stop, and there's cars on both sides. It's an epidemic in our city, and our safety commissions are well aware. And so, yet again, we lost another of our community members, her father, to this epidemic that we're going through. So it's coming before this commission that's going to help you get this resolved because they care, and they'll help you get this ball rolling. So I did want to see if anybody could give me that information.
So, just from the Public Works side of things, basically, with the measures that you're talking about, that was going on before I was even hired.
Okay.
So, so that way, so I would have to find out who you can reach as a point of contact for that. Right now, we do have an acting deputy director, city engineer. Her name is Susan Pan. Susan Pan, SUSAN, PAN. And she's the acting person. I'm not sure which engineer or who is actually assigned to that project, but I would have to follow up with you and get that information to see who's working on that particular project.
Do you have an email address I could get?
Her email would be PAN underscore
SU
at sbcity.org.
Okay. And again, we thank you for what you've done for us, and we really appreciate it. And one more thing, I want to stand in support of these ladies about street lighting. We have the same issue on North Stoddard between 27th and 28th. It's a cut through. A lot of the transient traffic comes through in the summertime, and it'll come up through there, and a lot of thefts has happened over the 15 years I've been there, so I can speak to what they're going through. But anyway, thank you so much.
Sir, can you repeat the street that you were talking about, you were following up on, so that way the calming measures on what street now?
It's on 28th, between H and Waterman. I mean, they gave us more than we asked for, and we needed it too, because there's a lot of speeding going on.
I agree, sir.
Good.
Okay, got that noted down. Thank you.
so much.
Just a question, Commissioner Tomba.
Yeah, well, this would be a question for Public Works. What is it that we can actually do and promise the public, other than just listening to them and taking notes? What action can we take today so that we can say, yes, we're going to initiate a study or an investigation on street lighting?
As I said before, I'd have to follow up with the acting director to find out, or at least the acting deputy director to figure out who's on that project and where they are in it. I can't give you any information or any kind of status updates because I'm not aware of the project myself. So it's like I can't guarantee any promises right like this minute because I don't have the knowledge of it, but it's something that we have to follow up on and research and follow up on and get you an answer.
This would be a new topic regarding the lighting on 40th Street, as well as the lighting on
North Stoddard.
on Stoddard. Yeah, so this would be in general. I just kind of hate to just have people coming in here making a statement. We make some notes, and it really should be Public Works or somebody, or Police Department, whoever these things are directed to at least make some kind of statement or promise to the community saying, we're going to look into it and we're going to do this.
Well, that's what we always do. That's
Yes.
why we're here, is we
Yeah.
don't just take notes and then forget about it. We actually follow through and follow up with it, and we have done it in the past, and
Okay.
we'll continue to do that. So it's not just going to be okay, you know, we're just taking the notes and we're going to ignore you or anything like that. We actually, you know, Daniel, he actually does follow through with it with the city engineer, and we do whatever research we need to do to look into your area. If we got to send out an inspector to go look at it, then they'll send out an inspector. It's just a matter of, you know, determining what's needed and evaluating the situation and what we can do on our part.
That's how I feel that you guys will do your part.
Yeah.
We're living proof of it. They're working with us.
Captain Carrington and then Commissioner Robertson.
Well, I just like to finish my comment. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, it's our obligation, it's our
Yeah.
duty, it's our job, and that's what we're here to do and here to take care of this. So,
Well,
and I'm glad you guys came up because we don't know if there's a problem until you guys tell us typically. You know, like there might be, you know, we might get different reports about different incidents that happen, but we don't know the serious and the depth of it usually from these paper reports until you guys come forward and tell us and explain to us what you've seen and what you've experienced. So this is very helpful, and I appreciate you coming today.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
And before Captain Carrington and then Commissioner Robertson, again, you know, thank you all. And, you know, let your community know this is how things get done. You know, you all really have the power to do the change because we're not omnipresent and we're not all-knowing. So we really need you all to be the eyes and ears and then use the services. That's what we're here for. So thank you again for coming. Okay, go ahead, Captain.
I just wanted to add into what was brought up, reference 28th Street. I know there was a significant amount of work that was put in, and it started last year. I was working with our traffic unit, and we did heavy enforcement out there, and that we passed that information on to Alex Kishka. And there was a lot of work that was put in behind the scenes as far as they were working on trying to get speed bumps and just all kinds of different measures in play to try to get that going. And I can get you up to speed on that when the meeting's over. But it's just, I think it's been done. Things are being done. It's not just notes that are being taken. I think when things are brought, I know I work hard to try to satisfy our residents when they bring something to the commission. And again, I know Public Works has been doing the same thing. So I do think there are things that are being done. It's not just, we're not just taking notes and just leaving it at that. We're actually doing stuff behind the scenes to get it done. So
I acknowledge the fact that things are being done. It's just that at this meeting, at this particular moment, people are making statements and nothing's being said to them in support of what they're bringing to us. And I just wanted, like the statements that you made, is exactly what I was looking for to reassure the community that Public Works is listening, because there's really nothing that I can comment on because I can't comment on Public Works and what you guys do. So it really is up to the department heads to make those statements to the community. We can't make them. And so that's what I was looking for. Just something right now, this very second, that these people can kind of take with them. So I know we've worked on a lot of projects, we've done a lot of good things, and same thing with the Police Department, Public Works. Indian Fire Department. So I know we're doing a lot of things in the background. It's just that I kind of felt a little empty for these folks here, that they're going to be leaving here without knowing what the process is in the background. And to me, it was much more appropriate for the department heads to say it instead of commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Tamba. Commissioner Robertson.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to kind of piggyback off of that. So I know sometimes you don't have the answers. So can we make sure Daniel's at the meetings, because I know sometimes things get lost in translation, and I understand that. And I think what we should do, how long does the assessment take of when, say for instance, just like the citizens came and talked about the issue on 40th Valencia, also on Pepper Tree Lane. So how long does that process take from, you get the, information, and does somebody go out from your department and assess the situation, bring it back to your department, and then you got to see what resources that you need to, or, approvals that need to be done? What does that look like? That's one of the questions I have for you. Also for Captain Carrington, the citizen talked about the issue on Pepper Tree Lane with crime and things like that. Is patrolling being done in that area since that, June the 22nd? Is there patrol? Has that been enhanced in that area? That was my other question. Then also, I definitely want to, when it comes to putting future agenda items, Chair Taylor, I want to make sure we really look into these two areas to make sure that something's being done from the public works side.
So for that particular issue, Susie, I know this is always a sticky issue with agenda, requesting future agenda items. Would you go ahead and reiterate the process for that so that everybody's clear on how that works?
Yes, for items that you wish to be brought up at a future agenda, just email me with the CC to the Chairman Taylor, and just let us know the item that you'd like to be placed on the agenda to be considered for a future agenda. But as far as just kind of going back to the questions that they have and somebody addressing it right away, I believe that it's the job of this body to take that information and direct it to the appropriate department. So, I mean, we can't just put Uhura on the spot, because she's here taking notes for her director, obviously, and that information is going to get back to him, and they will start a project there, possibly even contact the person that brought it up. I don't know, but I think it's the responsibility of you guys as a body to get that information to the appropriate department so that it can be addressed.
So perhaps, and I see your hand, Commissioner Guzman, perhaps we can consider, instead of adding things to the agenda, we ourselves follow up with Mr. Hernandez on these issues, because like she said, that's our duty.
And I understand that,
okay?
Chair Taylor, but that's why I requested Mr. Hernandez to be at the meetings, right? So I think that's very important. So I know his job is 8 to 5, but sometimes the work that needs to be done after 5, especially in these meetings, right? So I think I'm definitely understanding that we have to have those conversations, and I'm willing to have those conversations with those key individuals in those departments for our community. But I think it's a responsibility of those directors of those positions to be here and be accountable as well.
Ask if it has to be in writing. Ask if the request. Does the request have to be in writing for the department head? Are you saying that as a commission board, do we need to put something in writing to forward it to the the department head?
Well, it could go through the chair. In the last year, that's what those subcommittees were for, so that the chairperson of that subcommittee could contact the director directly. Otherwise, it has to be put on for a future agenda. It's not going to be discussed there, but on the next one. So it's just prolonging the process. So that's what the subcommittees were established for, so that we cut out all this extra time and the chairperson of that committee goes straight to it. Now, that was under the last chairperson. It's provided for in the bylaws so that if you do want to set up as chairperson, because it's at the pleasure of the chair. So if you wanted to set up subcommittees, you could, and, you know, ask them, hey, look into this,
Right.
follow up on this.
And I wasn't aware that those subcommittees had dissolved.
Well, it's, in the bylaws, it says it's at the pleasure of the chair.
Okay,
So
all right.
we have no, you know,
Okay.
we have
We can,
offices, so.
all right, so I think Captain Carrington had another comment, and then Commissioner Guzman, and then Commissioner Carrillo. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Listen, maybe I hope I'm stating what is obvious, but we as commissioners would have a role with the committee members that just came in. We should, maybe we should ask the Public Works Department to do their duty, but I feel that as a commissioner, we are the go-betweens with the community members, and I feel like we should be the ones, the eyes on the ground, so to speak, the ones that outstretch our hands and say, yes, something will be done. You know, we should be, I see that as a role. I'm not sure which word that is, but maybe I'm stating the obvious that commissioners, that's our role.
Yes. I want to say to Mrs. Stevia, I'm so sorry what happened in your family. We lost family members in a traffic accident also, so know that sometimes when the public comes and you see us, we're looking down and we're making notes. Before we're commissioners, we're human beings, and I've grown to know all these people, the police included. Susie also, all of us feel for you, and we'll do our best to see what we can do to help that problem so that the death of your loved one, there's something good will come from that. So I wish we had like a direct answer, but just know sometimes you see us all talking between ourselves and we're making notes, and it's the protocol of city business. But in the heart of us, we care for you, we care for the public. And the same extends to Mrs. Rangel. Thank you so much for, when you don't come, we don't know. So we thank you very much. And it's just sad that we meet you in these tragic circumstances, but know that we'll do our best for you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Commissioner Roberson.
Chair Taylor, I just want to just emphasize, if we do the subcommittees again, I know that's something that you want to do. I just want to make sure they're more effective, because I know I was on a subcommittee, but never was no dialogue, never no conversations, right? So I think if we're going to have a subcommittee, I think it needs to be, you know, structured right, you know, having conversations so we can meet the needs of our community. And I think it's very imperative. I think if we have subcommittees, then we can be the in-between and having those conversations and not have to wait till once a month to get the business done.
Okay.
So just wanted to make that
Sure. Commissioner Cervantes.
And I just want to emphasize that, I know I'm probably the squeaky wheel, but this is why I've always emphasized on the commission that we must be involved in our wards. So then the community can come to us directly for our wards, Ward 7, whatever ward we are. You meet the people out there and they're able to call, because these two groups called me. And they're not, and one's my ward and one's not. But it's because I'm out there, it's because I'm active. And yes, some of us work, yes, some of us don't. But we must be active so that they're aware that, hey, Ward 4, Ward 2, Ward 7, because I know all the wards call me. I'm not trying to brag, but what I'm saying is we must have a face out there for our ward as commissioners, right? So that people can come to say, hey, that's my commissioner. They're the go-in-between. They're going to get it done. Because we do, when they come, we get it done. So I just emphasize it's real important that you as the new chair, I'm not saying that Elliot wasn't bad chair, but I'm just saying that we emphasize on that. She's Ward 4.
Okay.
And then they're Ward 7, and you're my Ward 7 too, I think, back there. You're on 28. So, you know, it just, it's important that our community knows that we're there for them. And like you said, create steps that are effective, not just hollow where they come and then we don't know what's next when they come to us. You know, hey, give them something to grab onto and know that we heard it we're passing it on. You know, maybe the police is gonna do extra patrol, or you're gonna handle, So then they're getting something from us instead of, okay, next. We heard you guys, we understand. We're up here because we're passionate about we're up here because we're all passionate about where we live, our wards. We want the same goal in the city. We want community to come to us and we resolve these issues. Know that. All of us are like that.
Everybody good? All right, we don't want to hold you all longer than is necessary. We appreciate, again, you all coming out. We will, like I said, forward these concerns, follow up with them, know that you have been heard, and again, we appreciate you all coming out.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Okay, and for all intents and purposes, we'll, with regards to the subcommittees, we'll follow up with that. I'll be in contact, Susie. I'll email you as far as, things that are coming, because I have some other information that I'll discuss with all of you and follow up later. I don't want to belabor the evening, if that's okay. Okay? All right. So moving on to approval of the draft minutes. Recommendation is to approve the minutes of the January 9th, 2023 Public Safety and Human Relations Commission regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
Tombach.
Commissioner Tombach, second. Was that Commissioner Roberson?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Roberson, second. All right, presentations, we have none. New business, we have none. It's going to be a fast agenda, you all. Staff reports, none listed. Okay, for discussion regarding the request, there's a request that reports be given to the commission, that the reports that are given to the commission be done in writing and bulletized for board members to use as talking points while sharing information with the public at events or meetings. And Commissioner Tombach, do you want to clarify that for us?
Yes, my intent for the notes is so that we get so much information, especially when PowerPoints are shared.
Oh, yes.
And then you gotta, if you want the PowerPoint, yeah, they're available online, then you gotta print them out. That's more time that we have to kind of go through. Some of us can easily go to the website, others have a little more trouble getting to the website. To me, it's 100 times easier, just whoever the speaker is, whoever is giving us the report, just to give us an one-page outline. It doesn't have to be anything humongous, with all the facts, just a bullet point of everything that happens, so that if we do go to a community meeting, we can share this back to the community. Now, I know that Public Works does a really good job of presenting their staff reports in writing, extremely documented. I don't have any problem with their reports. But a lot of times, your predecessors at the fire department have given us PowerPoints, really good information, but it's a PowerPoint. And then, okay, we'll give you the PowerPoint. And it's one sheet of information that has absolutely nothing, and so we end up with 30 sheets of PowerPoint that mean nothing to us, except for just 3 or 4 lines. So just kind of condense everything for us. And the same thing with the police department. Lots of great information, really good information, and I try to take notes, but it's just sometimes while I'm writing one note, I skip the next item. So it'd just be nice if we have a sheet of paper with the bullet points, what we covered, so that maybe on top of those we can kind of write some stats or whatever. And I think it would just make it easier for us to kind of keep track of the notes, easier for us to go back to the community and give them back the information, easier for us to report back to our appointers. So I think it's just a good thing all the way around. I know it hasn't been done, and it's been frustrating, but I think it would really smooth things out, at least our end.
I'll go around the table in just a second and get feedback from everybody. But I think listening to you now, I think that kind of goes back to what Commissioner Cervantes was mentioning, when we're going to get out there more and be more present and be more visible in our wards, it would be helpful, I do agree, to maybe, because that information that we got at the last commissioners meeting where our agenda was about that thick, that was quite a bit of information. And I know you had expressed a little bit of concern with that, and I get it. And I think personally, I think it would be a little beneficial that when we have presentations come, and we understand that people who are making the presentations, they're deep into it. They've got a lot of info, and sometimes to us it's a little bit hieroglyphic and it's a lot, and we've glazed over after about 15 minutes. So I don't know, maybe it is something to be considered that those things come with something that we can pass on to our community, something we can share with our community, something a little bit more digestible when those presentations, and we're not asking them to add to it, just something tangible that we can take and make a copy of. Yeah? Does that sound about what you were?
Yeah, I was mostly concentrating on the quarterly reports or monthly reports.
Okay.
Those are much more important. When they come and make a presentation, yeah, it would be very helpful to do that as well. But my main concern was the monthly or the quarterly reports that we do get from the different various departments.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll start with Commissioner Kelly. You have any comments or questions on the discussion?
No, I think you guys are addressing what you were asking for clearly enough. May I ask a question? Let me ask a question. Would it be better if the presenter could email a PDF to Susie and she could just email it to us instead of giving us all papers? Or do you want to have the actual physical paper?
I think if for example, if the fire department was making a presentation to us, maybe it was PowerPoint or whatever, to have an outline, bullet points that I can keep track on, make my own additional notes if I have to. But if they already have all the stats and all on the bullet points, it'd be better for us to keep track while we're in the meeting.
Okay, so you want a physical piece of
Yes.
paper? Okay. That was my question. So I'm happy with what you guys are asking for. So go ahead.
Commissioner Roberson?
I think for me I'm detail oriented. So I love details, right? So I think what would probably be helpful if, and this is how we do in some of our board meetings, we just go over the highlights in the report, right? So that's when whoever's doing the presentation, we could say, do the real highlights that we need. And any other further details, we can refer to the document, right? So the key points that we want in the document, that person can highlight them. But I don't think we should get rid of the details, because sometimes they say the details are in the details, right? And we don't want to miss those details because we don't want to, get all the information that we need, right? So I think as far as the reports, I think it just needs to be like, give us the highlights, like Captain Carrington, give us the highlights for the month, right? And then he can say, refer to any other details in my document. I think that would help.
Yeah, but if you don't get them in writing, it may be months before you get the information in detail. If the detail is that important, then we should get it in writing as well at the meeting.
But you were saying the quarterly reports, right?
I was referring to the quarterly reports, and the quarterly reports are normally just a few moments. I believe the last quarterly report we had was probably no more than 15 pages, or PowerPoint slides. It wasn't that big. So it could be condensed down to a sheet or two of paper.
So Chair Taylor, that's just my opinion. The more details I have is better for me. Right. Trying to, guess what's going on, and then, like I said, that person can give us the highlights.
And like I said, it was my understanding that I don't think he was asking you to get rid of the details. I think he was asking maybe to some effect, a summary that could be shared and more digestible when sharing it with the community or with
constituents or whatnot.
Yeah, and that's what I said. You
Okay.
can just give us the highlights,
Yes,
like
yes.
these are the highlights, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Yeah,
And
we
you
still-
can share those highlights with
Correct.
the
Yeah,
community.
but we still need the details.
Yeah.
Commissioner Guzman, did you have anything?
Yes, I do. Either way, or rather both, is very beneficial for me also. And as I hear this, I gotta tell you an inner struggle I have. Sharing information with our publics at events or meetings. That's where my inner struggle is, getting my community to care. It's been an issue in my Ward 1 where I invite people to, an awareness meeting that something's going on at our place. And people, I do not want to, of course, generalize because it varies, but people think it's not their problem. And so if I were to hold an event, let's say at my house, hey, neighbors, let's do a neighborhood association like the Arrowview Neighborhood Association. Yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. And then very few show up. And if I have a PowerPoint that is to the bones, it helps the very few that come and care. I guess I need inspiration, not to give up, and to wake people up. The details, for example, were, the details that we got from the dashboard, the city dashboard of where the most common crimes happen, that was that was food to me. And I can digest it and I can discuss it with individuals, but at meetings. Yeah, at meetings with people whose, not their learning level, but their caring level is very low. They just want the bones and out. And so anyway, I just shared with you an inner struggle that I have. So repeating my answer, both are good. Detail and bare bones. PDF, yeah, a PDF, PowerPoint.
And I join you in that, because when I was neighborhood association president, the struggle is getting people to care and to keep caring, which is why I really wanted to encourage when they came here to thank them for coming and caring. Unfortunately, it was because of some unfortunate events and whatnot, but hopefully we can, get people to come even when tragedy hasn't doesn't strike. But yeah, we want them to keep caring, but yeah. All right. Commissioner
So I want to entertain this idea. I agree, we need the information, we need the data to be able to, get our mind around what is being said, why it's being said, and what's the purpose. I feel for the PD and for the fire department both, because our request falls on many requests. Many people are asking of these people. Maybe we should take some time to standardize a bullet point that we could hit, and it could be very basic for these guys. State your purpose, state the stats, state, the follow-up, and a reference to where we can find the information, because these guys have such a tremendous job to do. What I don't want to do is burden them with preparing reports. And this comes from personal experience. I'm a sales trainer. I get invited into a dealership. Everybody's all gang ho, we're going to make more sales. Until I start asking the sales manager to do more stuff. Then all of a sudden you get this, I like him, but part of me doesn't like him. And we always want to have these guys in our corner. And we have to consider that, yes, it'd be great to have all the information they have, but it's quite a task to present it. It would be for us too, if we were to do. So maybe we could spend a little time as a commission and put together just a standard format. And I'd like to get the input of the chief and the captain or the PD. Can we come up with just a real standard? What's the purpose? What are the stats? What's the follow-up? And it could just be as basic as it needs to be, because I'm sure there's some things that can be said in 5 minutes, and there's some things that are very deep. And what we don't want to do is have our agencies just buried in bureaucratic paperwork, and I've seen the fallout of that. And even though the intention and the heart, just like I hear from you guys, we really want that and we want it to happen. These guys are balancing, if you've ever ridden with these poor guys, they're like, the emails going off and they're trying to be cordial and they're looking at you. We have to be considerate. As much as I agree with you, we really do need that information. But I think if we could simplify it a little bit, what we're asking, because if you even look at what we heard, just give us the highlights, give us some bullet points, just tell us what you're doing. And if I said, Captain Kieran, what do you decipher of that? And he says, stuff. You guys want stuff. So maybe we can put it in some kind of just a very basic. And if we get that a little bit before, then we can dig into the stats that we need, rather than giving a bunch of stats that we may not necessarily need.
Go ahead, Captain.
I was just gonna, I think you kind of hit it dead on the head. It's like when I do present PowerPoints, those are typically things that the chief just presented to council. Mm-hmm. And the first thing, or the last thing I want to do is sit there and chop apart. The chief, he just gave it to council, and after they get it, then I bring it here and present it. Mm-hmm. And furthermore, it's just bullet point stats. What stats are you looking for? Some people might want different stats. This group might want to hear this. This group might want to hear, oh, how many traffic stops did you pull on 28th Street? How many guns did you collect? How much narcotics did you guys get? How many arrests did you make? And that's where it becomes complex, trying to figure out what exactly each individual group wants. And that's kind of why I give you a bunch of bullet points, and I'm like, here's a copy. Take some notes on what you think your neighborhood wants to hear, because it's just like you said, they might not want to hear the same thing that Ms. Cervantes' group wants to hear, or that Commissioner Tombuck's group. Everyone's different, and I think that's why it's incumbent upon you, when I give you the stuff, to take it and say, okay, this is what my city, this is what my part of town needs. That's what my side needs. That's exactly my thoughts on it, because like I said, I could write 10 different ones and it wouldn't work for any of you. Or I can give you everything and let you decide what you need to present to your folks.
Comment, and then Commissioner Cervantes.
Yeah, I think I've been on this commission about 8 years, maybe more. And on several occasions, I've submitted requests for a standardized report. I've even have submitted standard samples. And some of the things that I wanted to hear, especially from the fire department side and PD side too, was your standard average response time for calls, any outstanding events that may have happened during the month, like for example fire deaths, shootings, any complications that may have come up during the month that we should know about. Just little standard things like that. Like I say, that there was an uptick on burglaries in this particular area. You know, why? We caught the guys. You know, so something like that would be real nice. I think stuff like that, things like that, we can share with the community. Yeah, some of that information would be on the dashboard, but I'm going to sound lazy. Yeah, I can go up to the dashboard, but it's just 100 times easier for us when it's handed. Some of the standardized stuff, you know, could be on there all the time, but then in addition to some of these little details, and especially response times, things like that might be big issues. And just saying, you know, this month we had longer response times because of, you know, but we got it taken care of this month. You know, so just little things like that was useful. During the time when we were having some really bad problems with the fire department, when I was in the fire commission, we had really long response times, and part of it ended up in the death of a couple of kids. And there was a lot of, we got a lot of flack from the community. Why did this happen? And so, but that was during the time when we were going through transition We were going through bankruptcy, and that was, I don't want to say acceptable, but understandable. You know, why we had that response time. We were closing fire departments, different stations throughout the city, increasing response times. So that was very frustrating for the commission. What can we do about it? And back then, we couldn't do anything because we were in transition. You know, so, but that information was useful at that particular time. Now, with the PD, and you're still having problems with response times, you know, we could at least say, hey, we're taking care of the lesser crimes, but our response time to like homicides or shootings or whatever is pretty high. You know, it might take 4 hours to get to a burglary, you know, but our response times to some of these other crimes is pretty high.
Yes, Ken.
So I think you just kind of, one of the things that you said stood out to me a minute ago. You talked about like response to burglaries in this one area. Okay, again, that goes back to what I was saying. What I can give you is what you need. What I give someone else is what they need. It's so different. Like you bring up shootings and things like that, but there's some areas of the city, I hate to say it, but they don't even care. They care more about where are these transients here, and that's the information they want. What are you guys doing about these catalytic converter thefts over in this neighborhood? And again, that's what makes it complex. It's decide. I can't tell you what exactly the folks you talk to are looking for. I can give you a bunch of fantastic stats, and you can read them off, and they'll look at you like you're crazy. Like, we don't care about that. We don't care about that. We don't care. I want to know what you're doing about the transient that keeps sleeping in front of my house. That's what I want to know, and I don't give you that info because I don't know what you need. Again, that's why putting the larger reports together, and it does require you to do a little bit of work, but to find what your people need in your area, it's there. The dashboard, you talked about response times, we put as much information out there as we can right now, especially under Chief Goodman. He's extremely all about transparency. We're putting stuff out all over the place. And it's up to you to decipher what information you need. I can't tell you what your neighborhood needs, just like I can't tell, what Commissioner Carrillo's neighborhood needs. I think that's where, as a commissioner, I think it's incumbent upon you to dig into what your neighborhood wants. Get that data, what they want, and present that back to them. I can help you get there, but again, I don't know what they want. All I can do is put everything out there and let you pull what you need to satisfy your residents, if that makes sense.
And I just want to say, I appreciate what you said earlier. You know, the documentation has already been created by your higher up, so it's not really, it wouldn't really be your place to kind of rejudge all of that and then resubmit it to us. So, and I get that, and I appreciate that. I didn't even really consider that part. So, and again, too, a very good point in that even if you were to put together a very beautiful, bullet point of highlights, that's not necessarily what, when we go to the different, groups, they probably don't even care about that. Like you said, they're going to care about, what about this person that keeps sleeping in front of my store or keeps, whatever. So, good point. Maybe we can kind of meet in the middle, and I think it does eventually come back to us where we are going to have to, like you said, choose those things that we think would be important to our listeners, to our groups, and just be ready with those details that we don't want to leave out, like Commissioner Roberson was saying, be ready with those answers. So we might just kind of have to follow up with this and just do the best we can with each presentation that comes. But I do appreciate your concern with wanting something a little bit more comprehensive and, all in one page to share. But realistically, like I said, everybody might not even be interested in that. They're going to be interested in something completely different because of what's happening right in front of their front door. So, did we have, Commissioner Cervantes, did I give you a chance? Sorry.
So then, I'm listening to everybody and I'm kind of with you. Right now, what are your wards? What's the number one thing going on in your wards right now? If you're tracking it and watching, tell me what the number one thing going on in your ward right now. What are they concerned about right now?
Homeless?
No. What's the number one concern right now?
Marijuana.
Utilities.
Oh,
Utility
Gas
rates.
went through the roof.
Gas bill. Edison, watch your next door. Watch your Instagrams. I do all that.
But we have no control over that.
No. But I'm saying, what's your neighbor's? I'm saying, what's your ward's concern? The people right now are more concerned about utilities right now instead of crime and the homeless. They kind of put that back because now their money's being affected, right? I'm totally with you. I agree that we need detail, Ricardo. I know I'm passionate. I know. I feel you. I'm that way too in a different way. For me, like you said, in our neighborhood, I just do, I want more crime reports for the area, the whole area, not just 7th Ward. I want what's going on, what the police are doing. Ours just wants bare bones. You won't get anybody at a meeting watching any kind of it. They don't want that. They just want to know, okay, what's going on, what are they doing? A 15-minute meeting. I can get 150 people on my property for a 15-minute meeting. Can I get them there for over 30 minutes? They don't want to be there. They work. They're not concerned. It's not important. They want to hear what you have. Half of them will leave and you don't say what they want to hear. So for me, it's like keeping up on what's in our area is important. Being involved as commissioner in your ward. All these things that went on this weekend. The pursuit that ended on 29th and Valencia. I was on it. I was there calling my councilman, what's going on? I'm serious. I'm there. Police know me. He laughed because all the police know me. I'm like, what's going on? I'm standing inside. I was watching, this is my neighborhood. What are you guys doing? Oh, this is what's going on, Commissioner. They don't say, shoo, Commissioner, don't go. Oh, Commissioner Cervantes, this is what's going on. Nobody was hurt. There was no property damage. Nobody was killed. We caught him. It's done. It was quick and easy. They blocked the streets. He got through. He didn't hurt anybody. The shootings on what was that? East Street and 30th. And then we had Waterman and 14th. And then we had Kendall and 40th. I was on those already. That's my area. You're coming around my neighbors. That's how passionate I am. So I'm keeping up on that on my own. I don't hardly call him. If I call him, he's going, oh, Commissioner, he knows something bigger, right? I don't just call him. I don't just call a shipyard. I do my footwork. So that's where I'm kind of out with the commission. I feel like we need to be out there knowing our word. So when somebody has a problem, they go, oh, that's my commissioner. She makes it happen. Or she'll pass it on, or she'll get me to the right person. That's the same thing with these reports, crime reports. I have the crime reports, probably better than he does. I'm serious, I have the call logs. I don't know if you guys get call logs, I do. My councilman forwards me call logs every week. So it shows everything, where it happened, what happened, body found, this, I have them. So when I go to my meetings, because I'm under the boards, they want to hear the crime stats in San Bernardino, what's going on, what do they do with the homeless, what do they do with the crime, how many guns. I have all that when I go to the meeting. I have 5 minutes, they give me 5 minutes. I have all the reports there. Did you know about this? Yep, I have it. Yep, oh, I don't know too much about that. Body was found there, I don't know what happened. There was a body there, There was a shooting here, I don't have too much detail, this is what I have. So it's important that we do our footwork as commissioners. This is not just a meet and greet. When we took this position, I feel like the commissioner's serious. I feel like we need to be out there. So I'm with you, I get it. You're detailed, Ricardo, you're deep, I know, I appreciate that. But he's, I don't want him just being at the desk either. I want them to be getting the city back in order. Look at the paper, just go stand up in the city. Our city is in trouble and we need to get out of it. And we're here for that. We're supposed to make it better. We're supposed to be a mediator. I want to see the city get better. No, just as much as you do. But we have to do some homework too, as commissioners.
I think one thing.
Commissioner Creel.
I think, back to, we can only bring what we have in our personal experience. When we can put ourselves in the other person's shoes, life gets a lot easier. So as a facilitator, think about this. I want to make these two jobs easier, but I want them to be thorough. That means who's going to do the work? I'm going to do the work. I'll ask him questions, where do I find the information? But we got to find it. It's wonderful to hear you say what you said, because I've never really thought about it that way. I ended up in this position because I was doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm thankful that you're chair. But it stems from, how do I make this city change? And you have to look at the key players. You don't want to burden them. These guys they're so short-staffed on the ground, in the middle, and especially on the top. So we have to think when we ask them, because even Richard, as much as I love you, you said it'd be a lot easier if we had. It would, but this poor guy, he's got 8 of us. What if I said, well, Captain, it'd be a lot easier if I had this, and she said, well, it'd be a lot easier if I didn't have to go to the dashboard to get that. And I love what you said, because you put me on the money. It's like, shame on me if I turn around and say, Captain, do this, when you're telling me, shame on me, I could probably do that if I put my resources at paid. So we just have to consider that, because I know the passion when we sit up here, however I ended up here, I feel it. I feel like, I know you feel it. We want to do something, but we have to see who are the drivers. The drivers are the doers.
Yes.
These are the doers. So we got to facilitate them, not the other way around, because then they don't have time to do the very important, the things that really will change our city are not going to come from these chairs. They're going to come from these guys. And we have to help them do their jobs. We'll hold them accountable, but we have to always consider their time first, not ours. And I think that's what kind of hit me. Oops. Before I ask somebody something, maybe I better make sure that I did everything before I have the liberty to ask somebody, can I do it myself? You know, kind of what you're saying. So I hope that's how I feel about you guys when I see you guys out there. You're doing a tremendous job. It's a daunting task, and it's a thankless task. And I'm here in this seat to, by the graces of the public, whoever, I'm here to facilitate the improvement. And thank you for reminding me what this is about, this side of it. It's easy to come here and say, well, you do that, and you do this, and you do that. But the truth of the matter is we should be doing, what can I do to make their jobs easier and still get the information that I need? Because it is different in every single seat here. It would be a lot different from urban to the north end of town, to the industrial. We all know that. We know that, because that's our personal experience. And think where these guys are, because they're representative of not any individual ward, but all wards, right? The entire city. What's the square mileage? You told me one time it scared the bejesus out of me. What is the square mileage you guys cover?
It's about 64.
64 square miles. When I look at 3 miles around my house, I'm about out of gas. These guys got a long way to go. And I hear every one of you, the passion that we need, the details, but let's keep in mind it's going to be different for all of us. But it's all the same to him, because it just means more stuff. And it's important to us, and it's important to him, but he's limited with what he can do. I think the whole department is. Anyway, that's my
Did you have
piece on
something
it.
that you wanted to input? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just share that we do have the ability to provide that information you requested. I wasn't here 8 years ago, but with the advancements of some of the technology platforms that we have available to us, we are able to provide. And I just shared with our city manager today our kind of draft report, which highlights, it's a heat map, as well as our response times, which would include some turnout times, which is when we get the call, and overall really our response times for the entire city. So the next layer we're going to add is on the wards, but to everything, it's, and we'll call nature wise, it could be, we want to look at heart attacks in your area, we want to look at structure fires, we want to look at traffic accidents. The more information you're able to provide us for what you need, it would be beneficial to me. I mean, 911 calls are, as you know, they run the gamut, and the more detailed that you, the more information you're able to provide both of us, then we can kind of narrow that request down. It's not going to take much work on our side because a lot of it's automated now. So hopefully, city manager forwards over that draft report once we take a look at it. And if that's what you would like, then we can provide that whenever you're ready. But we need to know what you're looking for.
Well, while you're speaking, maybe I'd like to ask the question of all the department heads. What do you expect of us? What do you want from us? We're go between the community and the city. So maybe to get a better perspective, what do you expect from us, other than complaining?
Well, that sorry. That would be one step.
Really just providing us the information that you need so that you can share with your communities and the residents in your wards. That's really what I'm here. We're here to serve. I believe our partners here will echo the same sentiment. We're here to serve you on the commission, but I know for me on a personal level is what information would benefit you in turn, and how we can provide that in a timely manner.
So if I can just interject here too, one of the great things about our neighborhood associations, and again, I know I'm no longer president of the neighborhood associations, but that has been a great avenue in terms of when you want a representative to come out and perhaps speak at your, in your community or in your organization, I'm pretty sure you would have people who would maybe be willing to come out and give a brief presentation if needed. And, you know, likewise, I know you guys already have the partnerships available. So that could be a way to maybe address the specific things, because it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all. It's not, everybody's not going to have the same cookie-cutter approach. And then two, because I don't want to stay on this too long, and I'm not going to go around the room and address each one individually, but I would like for us individually, on our honor, between now and the next meeting, just to come up with a way that you can take what you're already doing now, as Commissioner Cervantes has so wonderfully put it, but take what you're doing now and what's a way that you can maybe kick it up one notch? What's a way to maybe just take it up just another level, so that, as we're saying, because we don't want to put more on, you know, you all than is already on you. We want you to continue doing what you're doing. We need you. We need you doing what you're already doing, so we don't want to do more. But what's a way that we can all maybe come up, just think of something between now and the next meeting to, what's one more thing I can do? Maybe, you know, like me, I love social media. I love the power of social media. And I know that there are other things on social media that I can do that'll be a little bit more far reaching, in addition to my local church and things like that. So that said, all hearts and minds clear on this?
I just want to comment to the fire
Yes, Commissioner
department.
Cervantes.
You know, your response time is amazing. I've had to use the fire department because the ambulance don't get there. You guys are just on it. You saved my life many times in my home. The fire department is wonderful. Every time I've had any kind of contact with them, it's really a nice feeling to have that, because I've been in other cities where firemen. But I need to tell you, they are. They're very nice people, and they show up real quick, and they're efficient, and they're caring. Just want you to know that.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to announcements, reports, items to be considered for future agendas. Number 3 on our agenda is Public Safety and Human Relations Commission announcements, reports. Do we have any?
That's where you guys
Oh, yeah.
share.
Okay.
If anybody
So
has
we'll start
something to
on-
report or share.
I'll start with, since I started on it, I'll start with Commissioner Cervantes.
For my word, no reports. No, not this time.
Okay. Commissioner Carrillo.
Okay, I touched on it last time. I took some time to look at the dead trees in our area. But it sounds like we have a director vacancy that we got to work through. So I want to air it. I also want to say just one thing to all of you guys. You know, we're in a transition. I'm an appointee of the mayor. I don't know what my future will be with working in this position. But with that said, thank you guys for listening to my opinions, listening to my viewpoints, and thank you for the hard work that each one of you do. Because I've been told it could be as quick as I get an email and you won't see me anymore. But just know that I'm still a human being, Jesse Carrillo, and you can call me. And before I came here, the reason I'm here is my ability to work with businesses primarily. That's a forte. I've made a whole life. I've been God blessed to fly to Hawaii every month to work with an average of about 7 car dealerships my entire career. Each one of those is a little kingdom. It's taught me to be humble. It's taught me to be gracious. And it's taught me to seek out where are the strengths of the people I'm working, and to not quickly dismiss somebody because I think somebody else would work better. In this life, we're not given the choice of our families, of our children's, and we have to work with the parameters that we have. And it's incumbent upon us to see the good in all of us. And I want to thank you for, you know, I was gone for about 8 months. I could have lost my life. And I'll tell you, you come out of that with a different view about what's important and what's not. And the most important thing, of course, is our God, but how we treat each other as people. And I never forget that. That sparks her passion. I would hope that I'm doing the best I can to do that. not to serve my interests, but to serve the people that I represent here. So I want to thank each one of you for putting up with me. I know I talk a lot, for listening, and you all make an impression on me. And when I see you around, whatever this future goes, I consider all of you guys colleagues and working for the same goal, to make the city better.
Well, and for Commissioner Guzman, I believe on behalf of all of us, we thank you. Whatever happens for your service, we appreciate you. We appreciate your input, and you are valued here. So thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Guzman.
Nothing of it.
Okay.
Nothing of it.
Okay. I don't have anything. Commissioner Tomba.
Yeah, I'd like to bring up a future discussion on hazardous disposal for needles. It's illegal for diabetics to throw their needles into the trash can. In the past, the city did have, and I'm talking way in the past, had a program where they did collect needles and dispose of them. That went away. They even provided containers for us to put needles in. I happen to be diabetic and I do insulin. And when I've brought it back in the past, they say, oh, county fire department will take the needles for you, but you got to go all the way to Rancho Cucamonga or something, and then they'll ask you if you're a resident of Rancho Cucamonga. I know that we do have a disposal place over here, Norton Air Force Base somewhere, that we can get rid of needles, but I was thinking something a little bit more uniformed, a little bit more easier for especially seniors to get to. Maybe a program through BirdTech, an existing waste disposal. So if we can have maybe some kind of discussion there through BirdTech to see what they can do. They're already going to push for that extra garbage can that we're going to have. You know, so maybe they can add another one for sharp containers.
So, Susie, is this something that Commissioner
He needs to email us.
Email you, and
Yeah.
then we will have that
And
discussion.
then we'll put it on.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Roberson, any announcements or reports?
Just a couple announcements. We will be hosting the 10th Annual Pioneer Breakfast, which will be at Cal State San Bernardino on December the 24th. I want to invite the commissioners. We will be honoring a couple of our councilmen, Councilman Alexander as well as Councilman Calvin, at this event. This event also serves as a scholarship fundraiser for our students. Also, me and Councilman Reynoso are working on, because I was inspired, especially from Commissioner Cervantes, about what can I do, right? So I know I've been talking and working with Councilman Reynoso. We're going to do a town hall summit at Cal State San Bernardino for the 5th Ward. And so I'll be reaching out to you, Chief, and also Captain Carrington to come. We're going to do some breakouts with our different community members, different wards, to kind of think about what do you want to do in the city. Also, the importance of civic engagement, right? How to engage with your community, how to go about those different things. I think it's very important, right? Because if you don't know how to do work in the community, you don't know how to do it. So really, in trying to bridge the university or students with the community, right? To understand civic engagement. So that's why we're doing this town hall summit. It will be in April. I will make sure I have the date at the next commissioners meeting. So yeah, that's all my announcements.
Thank you. Commissioner Kelly.
I would like to say attaboy to one of your officers, and I believe his last name is Dang. I believe he said it was D-A-N-G. Am I right?
Peter.
Okay. He contacted me the other evening. I put in a CRM for an issue, residence behind mine, and he was nice enough to call, and we talked for a good 5 to 10 minutes, and he was very helpful. He explained what he could do, what he couldn't do, and I explained the situation to him, and he offered to come by a couple more times to make sure that the residence was secure for future problems. But I did want to say thank you, because he took his time and he was very professional and he was very patient with me, and he listened to me ramble about what was going on next door, basically. So I wanted to say thank you. That's it.
Beautiful. Okay. Oh, yes, sorry, go ahead.
One thing, I apologize. I'd just like to share that we've partnered up with the American Red Cross to install smoke detectors at 3 locations in the city. This will be February 25th, starting at 7:30 a.m. The 3 locations that we've identified are 3 mobile home parks, 780 9th Street, 760 9th Street, that's the Thunderbird Mobile Home Park, and then Santiago Mountain View Estates, which is 721 9th Street. Anyone willing to volunteer and assist, they can meet at the parish, Lady of Hope Parish, located on 1000 Valencia, at 7:30. We're hoping to install 300 to 400 smoke detectors. We'll have some fire engines out there assisting, as well as maybe some explorers and our fire prevention officers out there. So,
Very nice.
if you're willing to volunteer, I'll give you Tim English is our fire prevention specialist cell number, which is 909-501-9692. If not, you can send me an email and let me know if you have anybody who'd be willing to participate and assist.
That's my ward, that's my neighborhood. Yeah, please, yeah. I'll trade, I'll ask you stuff afterwards.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Tomball.
To follow up on that, I'm also with the American Red Cross, and I've been asked to work that program as well. And I was also asked by the director at the Red Cross to ask the police department for their assistance using their CERT people and citizen volunteer, or anybody else that would like to come out. Yeah, I haven't made a formal request through the police department, but I guess it's going to be my formal request.
All right. Yes, sir. Captain Carrington.
I was just going to put a couple of things that are going on with the police department out,
Okay.
just for the good of the group. Tomorrow, from 10 to 11, there is the monthly Downtown Business Watch. It takes place at 180 South Arrowhead. The police department and several business owners typically get together and try to discuss some of the challenges that they face, and we offer suggestions. We try to see if we can help with whatever problems they're experiencing. This Wednesday, our department's kind of ad hoc basketball team. We'll be playing game 2. We're going to be playing against Entrepreneur High School at 26655 Highland Avenue. It's the old Kmart building on the corner of Highland and Victoria. We had a fun game this last Saturday against the IE Hounds, which is, my understanding, a semi-pro team that we weren't quite aware that they were a semi-pro team until we showed up. And every one of them had about 7 inches on me. And
Wow.
my knee was hurting, so I sat on the bench that game. But no, we had fun. It's just trying to build support with the community, and getting out there and having fun. And we'll have some fun with these kids coming up this Wednesday. And then we have another game the week after on Tuesday, same time, from 4 to 6 at Entrepreneur High School again. So.
Awesome. Nice. Yes, Commissioner Robertson.
Chair Taylor, so for future agenda items, they have to be in writing to you and Susie.
Correct.
Is it a time limit, deadline, 2 weeks
Susie,
before
what
the
is-
meeting?
What
or-
is your preferred?
If you could have it to me at least the week before our meeting. Yeah, so we meet the second Monday of every month. If you could have it to me by the first Monday of the month, that would be great.
And a follow-up question, Susie, for the homeless encampment stats, will he?
He will come next month.
Okay, all right, perfect, thank you.
Okay, number 4, items to be considered for future agendas. Now, I have create a mechanism to track future agenda items. Commissioner Tombach, is that something to?
So this is just something that you're going to see if there's enough interest and take a vote. And if
Okay.
there is, then it'll go on a future agenda.
Gotcha. Okay, so make a motion or second or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion to put this item to be considered for future agendas?
I have a discussion on the item. What mechanism, is it something we're gonna create?
Well-
Is this mechanism, is something that we create?
So we don't want to get off into the discussion about it, because we want to definitely save it
Okay.
for,
Okay.
the future agenda. But for now, is everyone in favor of having this as a future agenda item? So, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Tombak, is there a second?
Can you verbalize the motion, please?
He did.
I'll read it off here. It's create a mechanism to track future agenda items. So my problem has been that I lose track of
Sure. I got you.
what agenda items we've made, what we've done in the past. Just being able to track them. I know I've made requests for things to be on the agenda, and I guess I didn't follow the proper protocols, and I'm wondering where it went.
We both suffered that, so.
So to take the frustrations off of Susie and the rest of us, just having a mechanism so we know we were heard, it was put on somewhere, and it's being on hold, or what the status is.
And Susie, do we want to put this down as a discussion or for a future agenda item? How do we want to do that?
Well, I don't know if you saw the matrix that I keep, that I sent it to you.
And and this
That-
is something we had discussed previously.
I don't know if that's adequate enough,
Okay.
but I do have a matrix where I track everything with when I reached out to somebody, what the reply was, and when it's complete, I say completed.
Did you see that?
And we don't really have, no, I just sent
Oh,
it
you
to
sent
you.
it, oh, okay.
I just sent it to you.
Perhaps we can, I can share that with Commissioner Tombak to see if that's satisfactory before, or we can put it on the agenda to even see what that matrix looks like. Okay.
I'm willing to second the
Okay,
motion.
all right, all right, then, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, ayes have it. We will have that for a future agenda item. Okay? All right, that's it, folks. I know
Right.
we're getting out kind of early. You might not know what to do with yourself, but we are adjourned.
And I want to unofficially
Yes.
nominate Art Valentine.
Thank you.
And to wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
That's tomorrow.
Get her. Oh, I'm sorry. Pronounce your name for me again. Huh? Tuhura. You're gonna have to come closer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I've been so hesitant too, because I'm like, I'm gonna visit.
It's okay, it's been butchered my whole life since I was
Don't
little.
say
I'm
that.
used to
Don't
it.
say I'm used to it. Okay, sure. Tuhura. Thank you for being patient with me.
Yeah, no
All right.
problem.
And last one. There's some cans right there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now,
Good evening.
This week.
I didn't have a